The desert offered no mercy. Outside Caborca, somewhere near the Mexican border, the land stretched endlessly beneath a washed-out sky, the sun beating down until the horizon shimmered and danced. Heat pressed against the earth, blurring everything in the distance. Dust hovered in the air, refusing to settle, holding the memory of every movement, every secret. 3 black vehicles crept across the empty sand, leaving faint lines in their wake. At the head was a matte black Toyota, its surface dulled by layers of dust and relentless sun. Reinforced bumpers and heavy-duty tires showed it was built to survive this land, the sort of desert that swallowed weaker machines. Behind it, a Chevy Suburban followed, long and hulking, its dark windows hiding secrets. Last came an older Ford F-150, sagging under the weight of something tightly wrapped in its bed. Cargo, carefully loaded, its purpose clear, even if unseen. Their engines barely made a sound. There were no bursts of speed, no wasted movement. Every mile was measured, each moment wrapped in quiet, as if the vehicles respected the desert's silence. The landscape gave nothing back. Scraggly bushes clung to life in scattered patches, their branches sharp and dry. Cracks split the earth, as if the ground itself had surrendered. This was a place where people disappeared, not with shouts or struggle, but with a hush. Here, vanishing was simple. A person could be swallowed by the sand, gone without a trace. No one saw, no one asked. The desert buried everything it was given. Far in the distance, blurred by the heat, strange shapes broke the horizon. Mansions, bold and unnatural in this emptiness. They were said to belong to men who chose secrecy over fame. Drug lords, perhaps, whose fortunes shimmered in the air like illusions, untouchable, yet real enough to cast shadows. At night, those houses glowed. By day, they watched in silence. The convoy passed by, untouched by all of it. Or maybe, in some way, they belonged here too. They rolled to a stop beside a crumbling structure, concrete bones jutting from ruined walls, with shadows pooling in the empty doorways. No signs named this place. No maps claimed it. Only a set of coordinates, burned into the minds of the few who mattered, brought them here. Men emerged from the vehicles, silent and focused. There were no greetings, no wasted words. The air bristled with tension, heavy with the knowledge that this was not a meeting for pleasantries. This was business. A transaction, cold and necessary, played out under the watchful, indifferent eye of the desert. Inside, the air was barely cooler than outside, a thin relief from the desert's heat. A metal folding table stood in the middle of the room. It looked temporary, like it could be packed away in seconds, leaving no trace. Everything in this place felt that way. Here for a moment, ready to vanish. On one side of the table stood Salazar, a man whose reputation had replaced his name. He was steady and unreadable, the kind of survivor who no longer wasted time on questions. Opposite him were 2 buyers. Their voices carried the sharp edges of Eastern European accents. They moved with brisk efficiency, all business, their expressions carefully blank. Salazar ignored the men, letting the silence grow. Then he lifted his hand, motioning lazily toward the sun-bleached vehicles outside. "The rest is in Ford's bed." His words held no pride, no urgency, just a simple truth, offered without flourish. One buyer flicked his gaze to the doorway, where the F-150 sat half-hidden by swirling dust and harsh sunlight. The other slipped outside, his boots crunching over the brittle earth. The case on the table snapped open with a sharp click. Inside, everything spoke of careful intent. There were no mass-produced guns here, only a modular sniper rifle, each part nestled perfectly in dense black foam. The metal was matte, swallowing the light. Not a single mark or number gave away its maker. The receiver was small, designed for both quiet and accuracy. The barrel, wrapped in carbon fiber, looked light but promised stability for distant shots, never bending or twisting with the heat. Next to it sat a scope, military-grade and digital, its glass layered with stabilizers that countered every tremor, every breath, every heartbeat, every smallest shake. A dim grid glimmered in its lens, ready to lock onto targets before the shooter even finished aiming. "Gyro stabilized," Salazar murmured. "Self-correcting." He lifted a piece, rolling it between his fingers as if it weighed nothing. "Wind, distance, elevation. It makes the calculations for you." A muffled thump came from outside, the Ford's heavy tailgate dropping as more cases were unloaded. Every weapon was the same, unmarked, untraceable. The metal had a special finish built to shed fingerprints and resist scratches, erasing any evidence a forensic team might hope to find. These were weapons meant not just to kill, but to wipe away the very fact that killing had happened. "Single shot or more," Salazar said, placing the part back with care. "Doesn't matter." Finally, he met the buyer's eyes, a steady, cold look. "It leaves nothing behind." For a moment, the room seemed colder, not from the desert, but from the thing that now rested on the table between them. Salazar didn't spare them a glance. His eyes stayed on the phone lying near his hand, waiting for the message that would decide what happened next. "No cash," one of the buyers said, his voice as flat as the desert outside. Salazar gave a slow nod. He expected nothing less. "LedgerNet," the man added. "You'll see the transfer." A small, knowing smile tugged at Salazar's lips. LedgerNet. Everyone in their world had heard the name. Money moved through it like water. Quick, silent, leaving no trail. Fast, invisible, untouchable. But also... "Still in alpha, isn't it?" Salazar asked softly. The buyer hesitated, then gave a careless shrug. "It works," he said, and that was enough. The buyer reached into his pocket and pulled out a phone. Ordinary, unremarkable, the kind anyone might own. Its only distinction was a thin crack splintering one corner of the screen. He tapped the screen and opened an app. LedgerNet, Alpha Build, flashed across the display. The interface hesitated, flickering like it was uncertain whether to trust itself. Salazar's eyes narrowed, attention sharpening. This was the part that mattered. "You're sure the tokens will clear?" he asked, voice low. "They will be," the buyer said, not bothering to sound convincing. It was a promise that felt hollow in the dry desert air. For the first time, the buyer paused, uncertainty flickering in his eyes. He slipped his phone from his pocket and moved away from the table, putting a few steps and the weight of silence between himself and the others. His fingers moved quickly as he dialed a number that began with +49, the country code for Germany. Berlin. The connection to something larger, far away from the sun and dust of the desert. The call connected at once. No greeting, no names exchanged, just a voice on the line. "Yes?" The buyer lowered his tone, deliberate and calm. "We need 2 million. Now." A pause followed, silent and heavy. Salazar listened, but the other end offered only quiet, the kind that felt loaded with calculation. Then the voice asked, "Collateral?" "Gold," the buyer answered. "Allocated." Another pause, longer this time. For a moment, even the desert seemed to hold its breath. "Confirmed." The call ended abruptly. The buyer walked back to the table, his face unreadable. He gave no explanation, no words, just moved straight to the phone and refreshed the app. For a moment, the screen stayed blank. Then, without warning, the numbers shifted. A flicker, a flash, and the balance updated. Plus 2 million tokens. Salazar leaned closer, disbelief sharpening his features. That shouldn't have been possible. Mining took time. Everyone knew that. It was the foundation, the work, the delay, the proof. "What did you just do?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. The buyer didn't reply. He simply turned the phone toward Salazar. "Transfer?" Salazar paused, uncertainty flickering across his face for the briefest moment. This wasn't how the system was supposed to work. Transfers didn't happen this fast, not without checks, not without questions. But the number glowed on the screen, undeniable and exact. In this world, numbers were truth. Explanations could wait. He gave a single nod. The buyer tapped the phone. A message flashed. "Transfer complete." Miles away, in some distant server farm, the transaction was logged. Quiet, unchallenged, invisible to anyone who might care. No alarms sounded, no warnings popped up. No one tried to stop it. Salazar shut the case with finality. The weapons belonged to someone else now. The tokens belonged to him. Or so the screen claimed. As the convoy faded into the distance, the desert wind picked up, swirling across the sand. It swept away every tire track, every footprint, until there was no trace anyone had ever come or gone. The land returned to silence, indifferent and unchanged, just as it always did. Thousands of miles away, far from the heat and the swirling dust, a quiet server room in Berlin hummed beneath fluorescent lights. On a monitor, a line of code blinked into existence, a transaction log, appearing for the briefest instant before vanishing from view. Manual injection confirmed. No alarms, no questions. No one seemed to notice. And if someone did, they stayed silent. In some worlds, silence was safer than truth.